And we're back underway. Toronto in the white, Aguila in the orange. And those goals from Amarikwa and Dunfield. The distance through the difference through 45 minutes is that's a concern immediately, and an awkward challenge. And Luis Silva is down in pain, and you see them calling the trainers over. This could be a real problem for Toronto.
That was a poor challenge, and you can see Quincy Amarikwa remonstrating with the referee. You can see how quickly they asked for that stretcher too. I hope this isn't serious because Silva playing very well.
Now the yellow card came out there, and that was literally seconds. The end of the half. Henry Romero, the right back, penalized.
One of those players that wasn't comfortable in possession, but early. That is a disgraceful challenge. And that to me could very well have been a red card.
And what's so odd is that he's complaining about it afterwards.
It's something you don't want to see, because I don't want to say there was definite malice involved, but someone like Luis Silva starting to come into his own in MLS play. I'm not saying he's done. This is not good news.
Well, a double substitution for Aguila at the half, bringing on Javier Hernandez and Irving Flores, the forward. There's Santos off, along with Roberto Velasquez. You see Toronto prepared to make a switch if need be. Well, I think it looks like they're hopeful that Silva be able to continue.
One thing from knowing Luis Silva, he is an absolute competitor. He'll want to play on.
So Romero in the book. And an awkward start to this second half. Silva tonight looking for a fourth straight game in all competitions with an assist.
You can see he's frustrated with the challenge. Frustrated with the fact that Romero was allowed to stay on the field.
So Toronto will play with 10 momentarily, so it's quickly in towards Amarikwa. Able to clip it in, back post just too tall for Decoy Williams, the center back who came forward.
And a good run from the defender, getting himself in a position. We've seen over the course of both games that Aguila don't defend crosses or set pieces very well. That's good to see.
As Manuel Gonzalez gets us back underway. And Dunfield powers the header back to Freddy Hall. Again, Toronto tonight without some key phases. Obviously, the long-term injuries that they've had building up, and Torsten Fring's the most recent of those. But Eric Osley at home sprained his ankle 2 league games ago against Philadelphia. Richard Eckersley officially suffering a left orbital contusion early in the game on the weekend with LA. And Milos Kosic, their first-choice goalkeeper through much of the year, attending to family matters back in Toronto. Also, Darren O'Dea, their Irish international center back, left at home for this one.
Well, center back is the position Toronto have had a lot of trouble with over the last few years. Spoke to former Canadian international Jason DeVos at length about Toronto's issues, and being a former center back himself, felt that's the one area they really need to address over the coming season.
So everyone back at it, and after almost 4 minutes, the second half can kind of well and truly get going.
Let's see again, that studs up around the back of the knee. I don't care how hard he's actually connected with him. The foot brought that high, nowhere near the ball. That should be a red card. Poor referee.
Jose Luis Rodriguez of Panama, the man in charge of this game tonight, as Henry Romero was allowed to stay on the field for that, the 20-year-old, as he heads away. Good defensive work there by Logan Emery. Move back into the center of defense for this game tonight. Now Ryan Johnson.
can hear Paul Mariner just telling Terry Dunfield to look for that switch to Ashton on this left-hand side, and this time Terry does open up to that left.
Again, as far as the merits of running score, if it does go down to a tiebreaker, both Santos Laguna and Toronto on 9 points, that would be with Toronto winning down in Santos Laguna. The first tiebreaker is the head-to-head results. It would be 1 win each. The second tiebreaker then is goal differential in the games between the two teams, so essentially aggregate goals over the 2 legs between those teams, then away goals just between the 2 teams, then it would be goal differential for the entire group. So it would take a long way for, you know, a third, a fourth, a fifth goal against Aguila to really have an impact for Toronto's hopes of going through to the knockout stage.
I think for me, John, too, you still have MLS games to play, and it breeds confidence, momentum going forward, and players who are showcasing their talents for next season. Because you look at their position in the league, this squad is going to be changed around in the off-season. If you want to be a part of it or want to be a part of MLS, now is the time to showcase why you should be there.
Javier Hernandez, the halftime sub with his first touch. Shot coming from way out, but way off. From the other halftime sub, Irving Flores.
Got himself in a position to take a hit. It was a wild effort in the end. Dunfield done a good job alongside Mound in the middle of that midfield. Mound essentially just sitting. Not sure you need a holding midfielder against Aguila without Romero in there.
Yeah, Aguila without 4 key players, including the man you mentioned there, Alciel Romero. Played for Chivas USA a couple of years ago, second leading goal scorer with his team last year, and a mainstay with El Salvador's national team that called into an El Salvador camp with no game this weekend, just preparations for a big game with Costa Rica in a couple of weeks. And not available to play tonight.
The normal rules are if there is no game, it's at the club's discretion. Aguila must have agreed to the move, allowed the players to go with the national team.
That's Flores. Says he got caught by Dunfield. Referee says play on. Johnson for Amarikwa. Already 2 assists, or a goal for him, I should say, and the assist. Good work by Amarikwa to get away. Oh, it overhit that cross, though.
I like his initial idea, though. He wanted to get on the shoulder of that defender, take him on for pace. Ran out of space, but if he continues to do that, he'll have a lot of success.
Here's Toronto's first substitution of the game. Luis Silva again. Took those studs to the back of the knee. They'll play safe with him. And Eric Avila joined this team middle of last season. The trade from Dallas will be coming on.
This is a precautionary move. Luis Silva, I'm sure, would have wanted to have stayed on the field, but this game is essentially won at 2-0. Now Aguila could go forward, but they haven't shown us anything as of yet to suggest they will get back in this game, so no need to leave one of your key players out on the field when he's carrying a knock.
As Emery couldn't keep that in play. Toronto in action Saturday at the New York Red Bulls. Obviously a very motivated New York team in that game, so they want to make sure that Silva's as healthy as possible for that, as Decoy Williams with a nice little 2 shove.
Definite hands to the player.
Javier
Silly challenge.
Hernandez, the man going down. You saw Mariner's reaction.
Paul has been very animated on the line today, as he is in all games.
I was going to say, I wish he would let us know more with his body language, what he was thinking. As it's Darwin Bonilla now, and with this team, since his days in their youth academy, fires it in, but right to Freddy Hall.
Good positioning by the goalkeeper. Positioned the wall well as well. That's poor goalkeeping, though, with that throw.
Chance for Flores to send it in. Instead, up the channel it goes. Gets into the box. Trying to turn is Soto. Lay it back off, but all the way through. Chased down by Torres. Now Romero's cross. That comes off the referee.
Absolutely no need for Toronto's midfield to be that deep in that situation.
Aguila since coming on. That's his first touch. Native of San Diego. Dunfield. Clever little chip out wide for Amarikwa. Dunfield continues his run in the box. Here comes the cross. Doesn't get all the way through for Johnson. Reynaldo Hernandez heading away. Long ball for Aguila to chase. Jeremy Hall back defending as Walter Soto does keep it in play. Holds off Hall. Decoy Williams though able to break it up. Good play on there from an awkward challenge. You saw the Toronto bench waving their hands. Clipped in offside.
This has been a sloppy spell for Toronto. Well, the midfield has become a little bit more reactive to what Aguila are doing. Sitting off, allowing Aguila to dictate the pace. I know you're 2-0 up, but no matter how poor you believe the opposition is, you don't want to give them any reason to suggest they can get back into this game.
Well, the emotion's starting to boil over as well.
Mansour, the man looking to get forward and in and beyond. Assistant referee denying him.
Bonilla to throw it in front of his own bench. A little layoff there. Jeremy Hall first to react, and will be a Toronto throw in the end. Just a confirmation, so there was a yellow card that was pulled out there. I think it was something off the ball too. You heard the shouting going on, and Reggie Lamb has been given the yellow. Eric Avila now. Avila for Amarikwa. The return is a little bit under hit. Kept in play. Flag is up for offside. That won't count.
Well, he just gone a fraction too early. Avila got himself caught in the offside position, but the idea and the intent was right from Avila from that left-hand side. Good run, played the ball to Amarikwa, wanted the return. The space was certainly there.
You saw the linesman vehemently defending his call. So there's video confirmation of the Lamb yellow. Another free kick chance here for Aguila. It's Javier Hernandez, the 27-year-old, over it. Clipped in, back post man is offside.
It'll be interesting to see the replay on that, just how early he did go. Good delivery. Got the Toronto back line out. Assistant referee quick to raise the flag.
Here comes the third and final switch on the hour mark for Aguila. Isaac Zelaya is off. Coming on is Marlon Duran, a rarely used player for this Aguila side. Aguila trying to break on the outside. That's Ronald Torres. Forward it goes for Soto, able to hold off Logan Emery. Down to the other side, it's Bonilla. Just dribbles it out of play.
He just took his eye off the ball, was already looking at the next step. And there we see, that is very close. It looks like the run was made a fraction too soon by Omansor. The assistant referee got that call right. And a good idea that time from Aguila. If he had just timed it a little bit better, he would have been in on goal. The Toronto back line didn't react to the initial delivery.
So inside of the final half hour in San Salvador, and kind of an odd 15 minutes of this second half, as Toronto is trying to see this one out up 2-0. Goals from Amarikwa and Dunfield in the first half. Luis having to come off about 9 minutes after just taking some studs to the back of his leg. And Toronto really controlling the pace and the action in the first half. A little more work to do early on in the second half. Romero now for Irving Flores. That's Bonilla. Again, Flores closed down quickly on Mon, but couldn't get him off the ball.
And Flores has looked, since he's come on, to try and get on the ball in the middle of that midfield, become almost a Romero-type playmaker.
Jeremy Hall heading that one away. Amarikwa is felt.
I just don't think there's a need for Amarikwa to drop that deep to get possession. He can play along that line, allow his midfielders to control possession so they can hit him further forward. Definite foul again.
Lamb a chance to get that cross in. Flying scissor kick clearance by Romero. By the way, update from Mexico, we can tell you Monterrey now 2-0 up on Municipal on an own goal. So that just much more cushion. It would take 4 goals now, at least from Municipal, to avoid being eliminated and seeing Monterrey, the 2-time defending champions, from going through to the knockout stage. Herediano still 2-1 up on Tauro FC. And just increasing the degree of difficulty for Real Salt Lake as they play the Costa Ricans in a couple weeks' time. As you see that score, that's about the same point in the game. This is Avila. Took a deflection away from Johnson. Jeremy Hall trying to hold off his man there. Bonilla doing enough and wins the free kick.
We've seen more of Ashton Morgan on that left-hand side getting forward. Jeremy Hall, the other fullback, being given the license to attack as well. You see, just trying to pull his defender Bonilla down to the ground. The free kick goes against.
Williams got to be careful there. Soto almost slipped underneath him. What can Toronto be doing differently to just try to retake control of this game and not have quite one of these little moments here they're having?
I just think they could open out their midfield a little bit more and push on. I understand you're sitting on a 2-0 lead. You don't want to give Aguila any chance to go forward. I simply don't think Aguila are good enough to create anything, even if you do push on. Avila being on that left-hand side can give it a little bit more width.
Bonilla trying to play quickly, was blocked down by Hall. And that time it does work, is trying to get him behind there was Umanzur, but the whistle's gone. And the flag is up.
Assistant referee is not a friend of a Mansour today. 3 times in the second half he's called. It's quite easy to say, though, for Mariner to have his team continue to push forward, but the mindset of these players, they know at 2-0 the game is petering down. They know Aguila don't have the quality, so it's whether they have the desire to go forward and really kill it off. So far in the second half, they haven't.
Knocked down by Ameriquan Dunfield now. And again, I hate to say it, but it is an unfamiliar situation for them. 1 win in their last 12 games in all competitions the last 2 months. Nursing a 2-goal lead is not something they've been doing a whole lot lately.
It's an excellent point. The confidence isn't there. Uncharted territory. You learn from these kind of situations. You go for the jugular. And if ever you're going to get the opportunity to go for the jugular, it's going to be against a team like Aguila.
Well, again, the 2 goals conceded by Aguila, they will now go down in the record books as the worst defensive team in Champions League group stage history from the standpoint of most goals against per game. Again, dropping down to a 4-game group stage from a 6-game group stage, but per game, this would be the highest number, 16. They've conceded now in 4 games as Morgan tries to make it a 17th. That takes a deflection. It'll be Toronto's 5th corner kick of the match.
Let's be honest, Sean, they have earned that title with every performance they have played. For me, more so, it's on the individual Toronto players to know that they're playing for the pride of that jersey moving forward to next season. And they want to give their fans something to cheer about, which would be a big victory away from home.
Eric Aguila now to take the corner. The traffic, Johnson got a piece of it, and Gonzalez alertly off his line as it pinged around.
And defended better that time, got bodies inside the area. Aguila made it difficult to attack the ball.
And there will be a free kick there as Bonilla was tripped up.
Bonilla has wanted to get forward. He's kept Hall relatively quiet on this side as well. He gets that touch on the ball. I don't think there's too much contact in that one.
Not much protest by Toronto, but that might be pragmatic of where they know it's just going to happen and get on with it.
We've seen poor refereeing decisions in all codes of sports this week.
Whatever do you mean?
Not the easiest job.
A little bit of push off the ball there. Jose Luis Rodriguez has to run over and calm it down. As Ashtone Morgan got knocked down.
Well, there's malice in that one. Ashtone Morgan just trying to get himself in a position, then tries to make it difficult. Let's see how hard this push is. Well, if that knocks Ashtone Morgan down, he can't be a very strong player. You don't like to see it from players. Just stay on your feet.
Romero got that yellow card early. Lucky to not see it red. Switched now to the left side for Darwin Bonilla. Mansour trying to get away from Lamb. Able to keep possession for his team at the least. Hernandez inside now for Torres. Flores fires it into the backside. Javier Hernandez will keep it in. Jeremy Hall is trying to keep his arms down there as it's out for a throw.
Hernandez picked up a good position, but Hall got across quickly.
And Hall gets it clear. Shot coming from way out there from Ronald Torres, but Freddy Hall had it well covered.
We'll say it's been an improved display in the second half from Aguila. I think that in part due to the fact that Toronto have had no real desire to go forward and get that third goal.
Toronto enjoying 58% of the possession as we dip inside the final 20 minutes of this match. Completing 90% of their passes as well. As Aguila can't get that ball out wide.
Well, the passes Toronto playing just safe passes, square, negative passes.
As Decoy Williams steps up to intercept the pass, and he'd love to continue his run forward if someone wants to play him the ball. Instead, switch to the far side. Quincy Amarikwa. Good control off the chest. Amarikwa from the angle. Flips it back in towards Ryan Johnson. Couldn't turn that header on frame. Goalkeeper was scrambling.
I think Amarikwa could have turned the initial ball into a goal-scoring opportunity. Came back to take the defender on. That cross might have been just a little bit behind Ryan Johnson to get enough purchase on it to get a header on goal.
Aaron Mon now. Trying to feed it through Amarikwa. Unable to do anything with that ball. Now it's Walter Soto. Overlap from Ronald Torres. Can't just nowhere really for Aguila to go. As Duran gets a touch. Now it's the right back, Henry Romero.
See there how deep Mound is in front of the back four. Just pushed out and put a little bit more pressure on Aguila. I think they could win this ball very high up indeed, as they did in the first half to get that second goal.
Last man back is the captain, Anaya, and a little bit of pressure and given away to Toronto. Well, a reminder that our coverage of the Barclays Premier League continues on Fox Soccer Saturday. Manchester United against Tottenham Hotspur. And of course, all eyes on Clint Dempsey now after that move to Spurs. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, Saturday, right here on Fox Soccer. And then Spurs will be back here on Fox Soccer a week from Thursday in their next game in the Europa League as well.
I think Aguila can really go and push and press and try to win that ball back. Toronto just seemed content with that 2-0 lead.
Long switch now. Now for Romanzor. Good chest control. The back heel, though, does not find its target.
Romanzor has been determined to try to create some space down this left-hand side in front of Bonilla. Hasn't got his rewards. The assistant referee's flag has denied him on a couple of occasions.
Interesting news from the Monterrey Municipal game. The referee has taken an injury, and they've had to switch out the referee in that game, and a delay there.
Replacement referees, they don't
As
always do well.
As it were, yes. As Monterrey 2-0 up on Municipal, looking set to clinch their spot in the next round. Herediano still 2-1 up on Taro, game that affects Real Salt Lake and their degree of difficulty for the home game against the Costa Ricans in a couple weeks. Good defending by Decoy Williams just to stop the initial run. And now it's Marlon Duran on the ball for Darwin Bonilla. Just knocked away there. That was Hernandez trying to complete the 1-2. On a ball for Reggie Lamb to chase. The flag has stayed down. Lamb sends it in. Ryan Johnson off the bar. Amarikwa, I don't think he expects that ball to bounce to him, and the whistle's gone for a handball. Johnson denied on the doorstep for making it 3.
That is an excellent ball from Lamb, and it's one that should end up in the back of the net. Mount starts the initial break. Didn't have to be the greatest of ball from Mount too, because there was acres of space in front of him. Lamb puts that cross exactly where it's supposed to go, and Ryan Johnson should score. And to me, that's the difference between a good striker and a great striker at MLS level. should find the back of the net. That should be 3-0.
Adrian Can coming on has found minutes hard to come by this year. Replacing Decoy Williams, similarly hasn't just had many opportunities to play this season. Second substitution for Toronto with about a quarter hour to go. Jeremy Hall in a shoving match, and it's going to be a free kick for Aguila. He's unhappy about that as Soto was battling with him along with Hernandez.
Excellent delivery right into his path. That has to be a goal, and I'm sure that's what Ryan Johnson is thinking right now. Should put it away, and that would have put this game away.
Well, he's got assists on both the Toronto goals tonight, Ryan Johnson. Johnson battling for that ball in the air now. Dunfield drops it off as Adrian Can's first touch. A bad giveaway there. You hear the frustration from the bench as Walter Soto tries to come away. Nowhere close though with that effort. And here's it from the fans.
Well, Mariner identified him earlier today as the man to watch going forward. He's had no real service, and you could sense the frustration in that effort. You can see the frustration in his face right now. Not Walter Soto's best game of football that he's ever played.
Well, he's got 2 goals in league play this year, one of 3 co-leading scorers for this side. That's not quite the right angle from Terry Dunfield for Eric Avila. Well, that was the problem. It was the boot that's got to be looked at. He's taking a bit of a knock. Soto. You can hear the impatience from the fans now, I think. Those that are in attendance in San Salvador, not the normal home of this team. They're from San Miguel, but they're playing at the National Stadium in the Champions League. Soto coming back on now after receiving treatment.
We'll see Irving Flores again in the middle of midfield. Been impressed with him since he's come on.
Soto trying to knock it in front there. Hall got his body in the way. Lamb fighting hard now, and he's felled. And he doesn't like that one bit. Yellow card coming out for Walter Soto, the man of the last couple of minutes.
Now, we just talked about his frustration again. Silly challenge, but Lamb, no need to get involved. A couple of nips at his ankles, but Lamb should just let the referee do his job. Lamb would have been a little bit more effective in this game, starting from wider on the flank, attacking the space in front. Sometimes I think he killed his own space.
Oh, good job by Ameriqua to win the ball back on the outside. Fires wide across the face of goal. Just possessing Umanzur there, but couldn't get the shot on frame for his second goal tonight.
Well done by Ameriqua. Wins the ball back himself. Maybe that's a case of difficult angle to play it to Johnson, but you try to force it through. In the end, it was neither a cross or a shot. We saw from Ameriqua and Johnson now 2 half chances that if you want to be an elite striker at this level, you've got to start putting away.
Flores the switch out for Torres. Again, Flores. Kept in play by Bonilla. Umanzur again. Gets it back from Bonilla. Trying to get it to that right side. Just under hit, and Avila knocks it down. Long got that ball caught in the spokes and commits the foul.
Well, man, essentially a defensive midfielder, had a chance to go forward in possession, got it caught under his own feet and gave away a silly free kick. But Toronto lately have had issues with conceding late goals. It happened against the LA Galaxy at the weekend too. Paul Mariner addressed that today, so we'll be hoping This side can hang on to this clean sheet.
Tied for the third most goals conceded in the final 15 minutes of matches in MLS this year. As we're inside of 10 minutes now to go in San Salvador. Quincy Amarikwa, Terry Dunfield, the goal scorers. Ryan Johnson had one coming back off the bar about 5 minutes ago. As Toronto with a win would just set up that final day showdown with Santos Laguna. And they'll make their third and final switch. Reggie Lamb coming off. Andrew Wiedemann came over in that trade late in July from Dallas is on. So Lamb has scored twice against Aguila in the game in August. Not quite the same fireworks tonight. Here's Wiedemann's first touch. He'll have a go, and it didn't miss by a whole lot.
Well worth a hit. Defender sitting off, good angle. 2-0 up inside the last 10 minutes, and you're just on the field. Why not have a try?
Again, Wiedemann. And up for Jeremy Hall. Amarikwa to turn and go. Wiedemann has Hall back out wide. The right back has come forward. Wiedemann making the big run in the box. Hall elects not to serve it in though. Jeremy Hall being pulled back by his coach Paul Mariner there. Dunfield. Up for Amarikwa, able to turn. That's Wiedemann in front of him. Wiedemann the control, trying to get on that left foot, instead feeds it across. Johnson, a sliding shot saved by Gonzalez.
A good play from Amarikwa. Turned his defender so well. Good delivery, Wiedemann. He's been lively in the couple of minutes he's been on the field, and Johnson bringing the save out of Gonzalez. That was good football from Toronto going forward.
Good step there by Adrian Can. Keep the ball, you hear Mariner shout to his team with 7 minutes plus stoppage time to go in this one. 55% of the possession in this game for Toronto.
It's the 83rd minute of a game that's pretty much in the bag at 2-0. And Paul Mariner's still up and barking orders on every single play. It just shows you how much appetite he has for this game.
Well, a good opportunity to have something positive to build off and to teach with. You want to spend another difficult season for Toronto as you see that last attack.
Wiedemann elects not to go for the effort on goal, and Johnson just slips at the wrong time. But it was good football, and Amarikwa started it off with a very good turn.
News from Monterrey now 3-0. The two-time defending Champions League winners, so they will comfortably move into the knockout stage. So they're defeating Municipal of Guatemala. And still Herediano 2, Tauro 1, late in that game in Costa Rica. They'll try to build the attack. Flores from way out, nowhere near.
Well, Aguila have been restricted to those kind of efforts all night long, and in truth, they've never really looked like troubling Freddy Hall from that distance. Flores has been a bit of a spark in the second half, in possession, but nowhere near the player Osel Romero is. And unfortunately, without him, Aguila have really lacked ideas going forward. It actually looks like Paul Mariner is going to go and sit down, so that must mean even he believes this game is well and truly won.
That or he's exhausted, one of the two. As Hall throws it in, Americo doing well to hold off his man. Neri Cardozo, the goal scorer for Monterrey, as they lead 3-0. Wiedemann back wide for Hall. They'll try the left side now. Ashtone Morgan. Morgan trying to get to the byline. His cross takes a deflection right in front, save, and it does go across the line. And it is a third for Toronto, and it's Terry Dunfield celebrating.
Well, he's made 2 runs into the box all night long, and both of them have resulted in goals. Good ball from Morgan from that left flank. His best delivery for all the times he's gotten wide. And it gives the Toronto fans reason to sing yet again. It's a goal they had in them all night long if they wanted to step up a gear. And actually comes from the man who sat and dictated things in the middle of the park, Terry Dunfield. Ball gets wide to Morgan. This an area, the corridor of uncertainty as it's called, in between the goalkeeper and the defenders. And Dunfield just wanted that more. He wanted it more than the Aguila players. You can see his reaction. That meant a lot to him to get that second goal on the night.
Now kills this one off at 3-0. About 3 minutes plus stoppage time for Toronto to just get out of here. No knocks or injuries, no extra cards. Make sure everyone's ready to go for Santos Laguna in a couple weeks' time.
And that's all you wanted from this game. Put everything into the last game. Give yourself an opportunity to go through. A slim one, yes, but at least there is an opportunity. It's the oldest cliche in the game, but anything can happen. Football, anything can happen in those 90 minutes against Santos Laguna.
And it would appear that that's the first time that Terry Dunfield has scored 2 goals for Toronto FC since joining the middle of last year.
I think it's been a measured display from him in the midfield. Hasn't been pushed out of his comfort zone too many times. Kept the ball moving. You mentioned the 90% success rate on the passes. A lot of it down to Dunfield in the middle, not taking any chances.
Well, and really Aguila tonight credited with 10 attempts on goal, but really except maybe for one time if they ever truly threatened to score tonight.
I think at least 5 or 6 of them are long-range efforts that never went near Freddy Hall and his goal.
And Flores just not paying attention that time. It's kind of how the night has gone. Kind of how the entire Champions League has gone, for that matter, for Aguila. If it stays as it is, they'll have 1 goal scored, 17 conceded in 4 matches, an average of more than 4 goals against per game. That would be the worst defensive record in the history of this CONCACAF Champions League since they made that switch in format a couple of years ago. Flores.
If we're being honest, John, it could have been worse. Toronto could have gone for more goals. Santos could have.
Awkward collision there. Aguila penalized for the foul, and a little bit of a shove away by Ronald Torres. Well, it was 5-1 the earlier game. So Toronto fewer goals scored, but trying to get that defensive shutout. Darwin Bonilla set to take this free kick. It is Bonilla, and like so many balls before, flying up into the stands.
Well, I think more than anything, the clean sheet was important for Palmeiras. You mentioned the struggles defensively in MLS. He talked at length today about how they've conceded goals late on. He feels like the side is almost ready to put a run of good results together. That normally starts with a strong back four. You see that ball again from Morgan. Well attacked by Dunfield. But it is poor defending. That cross allowed to be played in by Henry Romero, who didn't play well all night long. And then Dunfield just times the run.
It was Reynaldo Hernandez, looked like who held off there at the last moment. 2 minutes extra will play at the discretion of the referee, Jose Luis Rodriguez of Panama. Dunfield perhaps a chance for his hat trick. Wiedemann back for Dunfield. And given away, you see Dunfield's frustration there. Javier Hernandez trying to come forward, slips it through. The flag stays down. That's Walter Soto. Resets the shot block there. Off the back of the defender as it came fired in from Marlon Durant.
I think of the two forwards for Toronto, Quincy Amirikwa has shown more of an appetite to work in this one. Got himself involved.
Flipped in there by Johnson towards Wiedemann. Can he get back to it though? Holds off his man, Andrew Wiedemann. Shot blocked down though. Now the captain, Anaya. And you can see these players, they're just ready for this final whistle. Ready to get back on the plane. Big game with DC on Saturday, and then the decider against Santos Laguna would take a miracle, but at the very least, Toronto FC have set up an opportunity for that miracle. A comfortable 3-0